unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text VALUE to 780-777-7777 to start. That's VALUE to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
It's happened again, and construction season is coming soon. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul. For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers are playing a responsible, repeatable game with quality goaltending and defensive coverage. Who are these people? The breakouts are crisp, everyone in motion. We're through the looking glass here, folks. Where are they going? I'll tell you what, they're doing everything right. And the goaltending in the last 5 games, same percentage over 920 at 5-on-5. Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month featuring their best deals of the year. It's about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members only at wolfgmcbuick.com. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440 AM radio, iHeartRadio as well online, sports1440.ca and Radio Player Canada. After the show, it's Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweet it out on X. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at jfenwick04. You can text us anytime, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Kevin McCurdy will be our guest today. We'll have him at 1 o'clock. At 1:40, it's Declamations. We have rumors and so much more to talk about. But we begin with the introductions. Today we're going lead singers of rock and roll bands. Both of them will hate it, but I feel I'm correct. If he were the lead singer of a rock and roll band, it would be David Byrne of the Talking Heads. He's twitchy, agile, and you're never quite sure what's coming next. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
No, you never know what's coming next. It's true. And also, I'm looking forward to driving you guys off the bus immediately after you introduce Declan.
Okay. Well, I look forward to that too. All right. If he were the lead singer of a rock and roll band, it would be Robert Smith of The Cure. Fashion meets fury, and the lyrics would be fascinating, rhyming oatmeal with bookmobile. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan
I like
Krueger.
that one a lot. That was very good.
Well, there you go.
Very good. For yesterday, obviously my girlfriend heard the Ross comparisons. She couldn't go as far as agreeing because she hates Ross that much, but she did say she gets it because I'm grumpy and have big baby energy. So once again, credit to your daughter on that one.
Well, I will just say this, this is the one area that you and I overlap, because Karen, my wife, often says, I have big baby energy.
Two peas in a pod, man.
And I know I do. Like, if you do not want to be around me when I'm sick, for instance, because I really am a big baby. I don't like it. You were going to derail the show?
Yeah. Why don't you guys tell us about your dreams that you were discussing?
Oh, I had a dream last night, and I got a text from Connor saying that you were sick, Josh. You were sick, Declan. And Donovan was on holidays. Nobody takes holidays in this industry. Anyway, and I had to operate the show, like produce the show, and be the host. And I said, I can't do it. And I remember having like anxiety in the dream. And I'm like, oh, and he wasn't getting back to me. And then finally he says, do your best, which is like the worst answer ever. And I'm like, no. And I don't remember what happened after that.
Fair enough.
And you had a dream.
And Declan had a dream.
I did. It was so I told it to you guys just out there before we started the show. It was like the most amazing thing ever. And you guys all kind of shrugged your shoulders like that wasn't that crazy. But believe me, when I was having the dream, it was insane. So essentially there was like a classroom in our studio here that was like doing a shadow day learning or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a small child producing the show, and he was doing it wrong, and Lowetide walked up to him and slapped him on like the back of the head or something. And I had to take Lowetide out of the room and be like, hey, you can't do that to those kids. And I don't actually think he responded. I think he just looked at me and walked back into the room in the dream. So it was pretty harrowing to see in my dream.
I really have never slapped a child. So there's that. But beyond that, like, I will tell you, as you get older, you have spurts of grumpiness that just occur, right? And you don't have the, oh, geez, I better not do that. That gear that you have that stopped you for like 50 years in life, no longer, it's like the hinge broke. And so you're just going to say what you're going to say. And I've been there. So maybe I can't see it, but I'm never going to say never. All right, let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to run some numbers at you. Not a lot of them, and it won't be like, don't hang up. I'm just going to run them for a minute. But in the last 5 games, Corey Ingram's played 4, Tristan Jarry 1. At 5-on-5, Ingram has a .921 save percentage, Jarry a .923 save percentage. Now, I'm not giving all the credit to the goaltenders. Don't get me wrong. The defense has played well. Everything's structurally sound. They're aggressive. They're trying to get to pucks. They're forechecking, back checking. They're in good places. It all seems to have arrived for this team. And I've said all year, high ceiling, low floor, but I've also said they can't turn on a dime. You can't just flick a switch in March and then say, oh, it's all good now. But damn, it feels like that's what they did. Is that what they did, Declan?
Yeah, I feel like that, but I also think the quality of competition suddenly got like very winnable over this 4-game streak. Like, let's not remember that Tampa game wasn't all that long ago when they kind of got ran out of their own barn. And as I so aptly put it, I'm not going to say it again, CRTC and all that. But yeah, like, listen, the quality of competition got much easier. Like that Pacific Division, shout out Utah again, good team. Shout out Seattle. Like, Seattle's in such a weirdly tough spot because they're consistent, they're defensively sound, but they're just so boring and they're not that good. They're like a worse version of the LA Kings, which hasn't really been a pleasant viewing experience over the last couple of years. So like they flipped a switch and they needed to. Everyone needed to step up without Leon Draisaitl. But the quality of competition also, in my mind, got infinitely easier despite the playoff standings of those teams.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, no, quality of competition isn't all the way there, but a win's a win. A win is a win. And these are some games that were in the past quite close this season, and honestly, over the stretch, they've looked really good and been very sound. So, at the end of the day, like I just said, a win is a win. So, shout out to the Oilers on that.
I think that, in all honesty, the most impressive part of last night was the third and the fourth line. Kapanen scores, Max Jones scores. Both of the third and fourth lines were rock solid in possession. Dickinson with Henrique and Kapanen, they scored a goal. They had a 61% expected goal share, 4-3 shots. Szymanski with Jones and Lazar, 5-4 shots, 1-0 goals, 66% expected goals. So, and the Oilers don't do this often. They dominated the soft parade, and you have to give them credit for that. Quite liking this right now. We'll see how it goes. Nothing's been won, but they are, approaching 90 points. They're at 85 and 75. I don't think I thought they might not get to 90 points, but it happened, and pretty amazing. Did you guys happen to hear some of the comments coming out of Toronto about their pursuit of a next general manager?
Maybe I didn't hear the specifics on it.
They're talking about having an analytics base, and some of the names that were mentioned. Merrick mentioned Tyler Dello, who used to work for the Edmonton Oilers, now is the AGM in Carolina, the Hurricanes, and Tim Barnes, who was a former Olagosphere. Your dad also a member of the Olagosphere, along with Bob Sacamano, and basically going after, Merrick was saying maybe they're going to go after somebody who has an analytics background. And I thought that was interesting because Kyle Dubas, the general manager before Brad Treliving, was heavily steeped in analytics. And I've always wondered that we have it now in Carolina where the general manager is a guy who came up through blogs and but uses a lot of analytics and is highly qualified to be a general manager. But there was a time when you could, I had arguments with media people, them saying there's no way somebody who's an analytics guy is going to be a general manager in a National Hockey League. Well, that's done. Eric Tulsky's already there. But what do you think would happen if Tyler Dello, who has a certain fame in this town, were to be the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs and they won the Stanley Cup? There might be
Are you
some
sure
problem.
he wouldn't turn it down?
It'd be a tough job.
It'd be a really tough job.
Yeah, if he's that smart, he might.
And he sort of has it made in the shade in Carolina right now. Like, they're building a good team.
They are.
Don't you think there's also something to be said for, like, he really believes in what he does and believes in who he is. Don't you think there's something to be said for going there and being the savior of the Leafs? Savior might be a strong word, but lack of a better term.
But to getting to be the savior of the Leafs, you literally have to hear how every decision you make is the wrong decision.
And also you might
decision.
You might not have the leeway. Like, one of the problems with the Leafs is, you can say Treliving botched it, or you can say Dubas botched it, but we know now that Shanahan was behind a lot of the stuff. Mm-hmm. And so do you actually have carte blanche? Because that's part of the deal. Zito, when he went to Florida, clearly had the ability to make any changes he wanted to. Are the Maple Leafs going to do that?
If you get the Maple Leafs job, I think anyone that takes the Maple Leafs job before they sign their name on the dotted line has to get confirmation from ownership. They're like, hey man, you gotta give me some time.
Yeah, and they're in kind of a weird spot where it's like there's this lingering rebuild, but it's almost like maybe not, because we have Nylander and Matthews. I almost, like, if I'm the GM signing there, I almost go to them and say, like, trust me for 3 years and then figure it out after that, or something like that.
I think you need 5. Honest to God,
no,
I think
5's a better number for sure.
Yeah.
I just don't know if you get that leeway there.
But you can't get the city of Toronto to buy in for 5 years. You could maybe sell them on 3.
That's why I say 3. I was going to say 2, but that is too short.
But the number isn't 3 or 2. It's 1967.
We're aware. And
it's been. So maybe you don't do what you did last time.
Exactly. So you think maybe that people would be more understanding of, oh, yes, we have to rebuild. But the problem is when you're around for as long as the Leafs are and you haven't won for as long as the Leafs have, you don't get more understanding. You get more antsy and you get more frustrated with it every time that there's a loss in the column. And every time a trade doesn't go your way, or the guy that you fired as GM goes to a different franchise and Kyle Dubas pulls off a retool.
Yeah. Pretty wild stuff. How are the Jays doing, by the way?
They're up 1-0. Andres Jimenez up to bat. Gosman has 6 Ks at the bottom of the 4th.
Okay. By the way, the Oilers signed an interesting player, a guy who was a late draft pick, William Nickel. He was a 3-year entry-level deal. He was drafted a few years ago, had an injury worry. He was drafted out of London. He didn't play a lot in his draft year, but they liked him. A speed burner, undersized a little bit, but a center and skilled and has an idea about how to play a complete game. And before the injury and after the injury, he's been real quality as an offensive player. It's a good signing. And he may end up in Bakersfield this year, but he'll definitely be a member of the Condors next year. Any breaking news about NCAA basketball, football, NBA that we want to cover today? That we would, because we have a little bit of time. We didn't Monday or Tuesday, but we have a little time to spend on your favorite little toys that you enjoy to talk about.
Sure. Breaking news out of the NBA. Our morning show guest, Jonathan Von Tobel, said the Charlotte Hornets could win a first-round playoff matchup and upset the Detroit Pistons. And I just wanted to shed light on that the Hornets are really those guys.
Well, I really want the Hornets to get to 6.
You think?
I don't think, but I want them to back. The Hornets are they got a little like Columbus Blue Jackets vibes to them.
Would that be Hornets Knicks as the first round matchup?
As of today, yes.
They're an outlier though, right? Like they're not. If we sit down and we talk about the NBA for an hour, they might not come up.
They'd come up. It would be the Knicks. Yeah, they'd come up this season because of what they've done. Like the way I kind of described them earlier in the season was they're a team that just they do have dudes, but it's a bunch of dudes being dudes and playing individually, like LaMelo, Kahn, Brandon Miller, like it was just guys thrown together, but they came together and played as a team, and like they have been so much fun to watch. Now, if anyone just checks the standings, yes, they are sitting there at 10th, tied for 9th, technically at 40 and 36. They got some stuff to do in that play-in, but like they have been a great story this year, and their advanced numbers are through the roof.
Unreal. Like honestly, what it is like they were so bad at the beginning of the year, and then January 1st comes around and they flip this switch. And all of a sudden they're playing team ball, and LaMelo is averaging his lowest points per game, assists per game, and rebounds per game, but he's shooting it the most efficient that he's ever had before, and his team is winning.
I just want to know if the dudes abide.
The dudes do abide.
Okay.
If JVT is a dude, then the dude abides.
I will say to the guest point, I do have I don't know if I could pick them against Detroit with Cade coming back or Boston. Matchup wise, like I don't hate the Knicks matchup. I don't hate that at the 3-6.
No, especially because like you have Diabate, who's such a defensive minded center. You lock down Karl Anthony Towns, who allegedly doesn't know what his role on this New York Knicks team is.
Not very efficient this year. Can't play defense at the other end.
Yeah, like there's a look here, and Brandon Miller really good at the rack. Like interiorly, the New York Knicks are
interiorly.
Is that not a word?
I don't think so, sir.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not a word. I'm making it a word.
No, it is actually.
It is? Yep. Let's go. Oh my God.
From what dictionary?
Merriam-Webster.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, only the most reliable one.
Interiorly. Wow, I would never have guessed that. All right.
I don't know where I heard that word before, but I definitely heard it.
All right. Okay, very busy show, as you can tell. We're going to talk NBA. We're going to talk about March Madness. We mentioned the CFL draft yesterday. I want to talk a little about the NFL draft and some of the teams and what they're doing. The NFL never goes away, right? And it's because it's such a large, massive thing. So we're going to talk about that too. And of course, the Edmonton Oilers, they have a chance, folks. They have a chance to win the Pacific Division. What a strange year. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Divorce is never easy. but Fairway Divorce Solutions can help.
Their clear step-by-step process addressed all our issues, and we moved through the process quickly.
Fairway didn't take sides. They saved us money and heartache.
My ex, the kids, and I feel like we'll all be okay.
At Fairway Divorce Solutions, trained mediators and in-house lawyers will move your divorce process forward in a professional and efficient manner to achieve a fair resolution and separation agreement. Visit fairwaydivorce.com.
Spring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
When I get older, I will.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. If you and I, the three of us, were to get together and to write a song, like could be a rap or be a like a beautiful, I don't know, like Songbird by Fleetwood Mac, that kind of beautiful ballad. What do you think we'd come up with?
Nothing good.
We definitely wouldn't write like Fleetwood Mac. I'll tell you that.
We could find words that rhyme with cabbage, is my guess. You know, I mean,
we could probably
I
rap
think we're pretty
well.
creative. I don't think it would. I don't think we'd be signing any deals or anything. But you know, there you go. It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. Far better investment than putting the three of us together in a room with a typewriter and asking us to write songs. The Edmonton Oilers have signed William Nickel to a 3-year entry-level deal. He's from Ottawa. The Oilers drafted him a few years ago out of the London Knights. High-skilled. He plays in all 3 game states. Good speed. Undersized. But a guy who I think that there's a lot about him that may end up playing well in AHL. I'm not calling him James Hamblin because I think he has a little more upside than that, but I think he has a lot of utility along with being a speedy guy with skill. And it's the kind of player the Oilers have to sign because they don't have a lot of prospects. However, this is legit. This is a guy, you know, sometimes you sign a guy and 3 years later or 2 years later, it's like, I don't think he's worth the money. This guy truly was. This is a guy who will play at a high level. And I don't know if it's the NHL, but certainly he'll play a long time in the NHL or the AHL. Cale Makar, latest on him is going to be out for a while, going to miss some time, but it's not serious. The vagaries of NHL injury descriptions are getting worse by the day, but they are implying that there's no hurry to rush him back, and that is true because they're probably going to win the President's Trophy. But they need him. As good as Colorado is, they need he's had a tough year, but he's a wonderful player. And you don't see them winning the Stanley Cup without him. So definitely got to get him in there at some point in time. I want to skip to this because I find it interesting, and I'd like to get both of you to give me your opinion on this. I saw this and I just said, I need some explaining. And here we go. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam has in the past described the Deshaun Watson era and signing as a big swing and miss. But when he spoke to media recently, he said Deshaun has a great chance. Fresh start, offensive-minded coach who has in the past been able to work with all kinds of different quarterbacks and make them successful. So is this an owner who is like just trying to save face in front of media, or does this cat believe that it's even though it's been a swing and a miss, there's still an opportunity. There's another at bat, baby.
Good God, no. I can't imagine that is true in the slightest. I think this is it. Those honestly are the words of a guy who's saying we don't have a quarterback. And so we are trying to figure out like who our quarterback is going to be. That's why he gets a fresh start. But quite frankly, this is a guy who should not be in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, on the field, off the field, like everything surrounding Deshaun Watson points to it. It's over.
Are you implying he did not bring glory to Cleveland, the city?
I am certainly implying that. He also got the greatest contract in sports history from a player's perspective. $200 million fully guaranteed after not playing football for a year. And then I think he's started a total of like 7 games for the Browns. Like, this worked out great for him. From every other point of view, that was awful. And I cannot see a world where day one of the NFL season, Deshaun Watson is taking snaps from center against an actual NFL team in the National Football League.
Okay. Declan?
No, it's very well said. Yeah, I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to sit here and carry weight for Deshaun Watson. But like the contract at the time, based on what he had done the season prior, you were like, I mean, that's crazy for it to be fully guaranteed, but you know, kind of top 5 MVP type finish season. They're so invested in him and what all the dead money would be if he got cut to the fully guaranteed contract that like you almost you have to ship him out there and just say like, is there anything left that's palatable? And the reality is there isn't. It is the worst situation a player team can be in North American sports that I can think of off the top of my mind. Like, it is just such a dead anchor.
What are the odds that it happened with Cleveland with the Browns? Like, there's a few NFL cities this could happen.
Yeah, pretty on brand.
Very on brand for the Cleveland Browns. I will give
Jets,
you that.
You know,
Jets would have done it. Raiders might have done it.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one. The Mavericks are targeting big names in their search for front office help. Rumored to be Celtics president Brad Stevens and Thunder executive VP of basketball Sam Presti.
No, I think you got
Margot Robbie.
I think you got this can't be real.
I'd like to date Sydney Sweeney.
Chris Mannix of SI.
Yeah, no, listen, Lowetide, to your point, like those are great players to target or great executives to target. There is no way. Like, there is no way Brad Stevens would leave Boston. There is no way Sam Presti would leave Oklahoma.
And especially for Dallas.
Sam Presti is God in Oklahoma.
Well, maybe he wants to be God there too.
Hey, thank you, Josh. I'm not coming at you. I'm not coming at you saying it was a fake reporter or anything. I'm just saying like
I ask these questions so you give me your answers and you have to be honest.
Yeah,
and you are.
No, this is like, you know what? Columbus would really love to trade for Connor McDavid.
That's exactly
also mentioned our Cavs GM Kobe Altman. Is that more possible? I mean, it's Cleveland.
listen, Cleveland's got to get over the hump. Don't get me wrong. And you kind of brought in known playoff shrinker James Harden. So like we got to kind of wait and see what's going to happen this postseason. But I don't think there's a lot. Listen, there are definitely worse situations than Detroit, or excuse me, than Dallas for a GM to go. I don't think it's all that attractive over there. Like for one, yes, you have Cooper Flag. That Kyrie, contract is one thing with him not playing. What's he going to be like back after the injury? Like, yes, you like Lively, you like Gafford, you like Pete. Like, you got to pay these guys at some point. But my thing is like, there is such a negative connotation with that organization right now. Even as a new face, I don't know if you want to be associated with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, was it yesterday or 2 days ago that Mark Cuban openly said he made a mistake?
Yeah, he said he made a mistake selling the team. This is what the Mavericks should do. They should go and get that Rob Pelinka guy. He traded for Luka Doncic.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Not bad. Not bad.
In the Major Leagues of Baseball, Toronto up 1 Cobb over Colorado, but Colorado's got guys on because they're a more interesting team than they were a year ago. I will say they're still garbage, but they're more interesting. I'm talking about Colorado, not Toronto. They're more interesting than they were a year ago.
Denver Sports Radio, I forget exactly which station it was. I believe it was an AM station out of Denver. They had a debate prior to the MLB season that in a 162 game season, could the Broncos get a win over the Rockies? And one host was like, obviously adamantly against this. I think that's the most disrespectful thing ever. Someone quote tweeted and said, the Broncos might not get a hit in 162 games, let alone a win. Like, I just think the fact that that argument even existed in Denver Sports Radio, by the way, wow, what's going on with the Nuggets, the season the Broncos just had, and the Colorado Avalanche is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Now, do you think that the Colorado Rockies baseball team could beat the NFL in a flag football game?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you think the Colorado Rockies baseball team could beat the NFL All-Star guys in a flag football team?
Seems like pretty much anyone can do it, so I don't see why the Rockies couldn't.
In baseball, Connor Griffin and the Pirates are reportedly working on an extension. This is important for the Pirates. They are so cheap that they messed up the Paul Skeens rookie year so badly that not only did they get the draft pick that they would have gotten if they'd kept him, he became the rookie of the year. That was a great. Was that a catch?
I think Davis Schneider caught that.
That's an amazing baseball player right there. I know he's got the mustache that rhymes with torn, but that is a fantastic play by that man. Okay, so they blew it with Paul Skeens. He ends up winning Rookie of the Year award, and there's a great valuable draft pick you get, but they didn't call him up in time. And now they're doing the same thing with Connor Griffin. Connor Griffin, I know he's a teenager, but he could win the Rookie of the Year award, and they could be eligible for a draft pick, but they're doing the same thing. They got to sign him. They got to get him up. He may come up for 100 at-bats and hit 180, but you got to find out. And that's actually good news if they're negotiating with him, and hopefully he'll be in the Major Leagues of Baseball soon. Blue Jays return Rule 5 pick Angel Bastardo to the Boston Red Sox. So there you go there. And a few questions coming in. This is one from Bobby on the text line, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Lowetide, I have a question about the Oilers AHL team, the Condors. As a rule, what's the ideal percentage of journeyman AHL players to true NHL prospects to have on the roster? I presume not all the players signed to an AHL contract are seen as potential NHL players, or are they all true prospects? Great question, Bobby. So this is this is often how a team like the Oilers would construct their AHL club. The first thing you need is a number 3 NHL goaltender that you can get through waivers who will be the starter in the AHL and a recall option if you get an injury in the NHL. It's vitally important you have that. Vitally important. And recently the Oilers have had Calvin Pickard down there, and then they recalled him and he ended up staying here. That's number 1. So you've got an NHL caliber goaltender as your starter, and then you'd probably have a prospect or 2 backing him up. The other prospect could play in Fort Wayne in the ECHL, while the more prominent prospect could be the backup. And usually in the AHL, they somewhat share the load, maybe 60-40 for the starter or the reliever, just to make sure that everybody's fresh. And then in terms of the rest of the roster, the valuable pieces aside from the goaltender are veteran defensemen who've played NHL and AHL games. They're not considered prospects, but they could be recalls to the NHL. Examples on the Bakersfield Condors would be Josh Brown and Cam Dineen. Those are players who can be recalled, but they're going to be mentoring the young defensemen down there, like Damien Carfagna and Bo Akey. Those are the top defensive prospects on the Bakersfield Condors this year, and those are the guys who you might see in the National Hockey League as NHL regulars should they continue to develop. And up front, the key, and the Oilers do, Keith Gretzky has done a great job of this, and I think Stan Bowman has improved on it. But in the AHL, you always need to have really good centers who can play 200 feet. Two-way guys can be on the power play, penalty kill. And the reason is often NHL teams will send down their young stud wingers. Examples would be Matt Savoy. This year it's Ike Howard down there. And you need to have a center who can help them get through the rigors of the AHL, feed them the puck in good places, allow them to use their creativity and get used to playing against men who are 7 or 8 years older and much stronger. And quite frankly, don't really care that you're a first round pick. In fact, it might make them hit you harder. So that center on the skill lines, James Hamblin would be an example of that this year, but there are others down there. Those are key. Now, prospects this year, I mentioned Ike Howard. Josh Szymanski went down there out of the German league, the DEL last year, and I don't think the Oilers or anybody really knew what he was. Now, he's in the National Hockey League now, one of the biggest surprises in recent years for the team. But that's the kind of player you want. The Oilers signed a European very recently, defenseman, and that's the kind of player you bring in. You don't know what he is, but you're hoping to find out. In the case of Szymanski, right to the NHL. In the case of Atro Lepinen, who's a defenseman they signed out of Finland, that he didn't make the NHL, but they re-signed him to another contract, and he could play here next year. So you're probably looking at, I'll say, 5 AHL only contracts who are regulars, and those are often defensemen who play quite a bit when there's injuries or somebody needs a rest or somebody's been recalled. And then you'll probably have 1 or 2 centers that are unlikely to play in the NHL in any given year, but are vital. Hamblin would be one, although he did receive a recall. And then you've got some veteran AHL guys like Seth Griffith, who's been on an NHL contract forever. And in recent years, maybe the last couple, he signed an AHL deal because he's so popular in Bakersfield and such a big part of the organization that they reward him with a substantial contract. And by substantial, I mean it might be the most money he's earned in a decade. But he's not going to go to another team. He's not going to go to Europe. He's happy there. And he's building his life beyond hockey. So those things are all part of the Bakersfield Condors. But the key players down there are men like Ike Howard. I mentioned Carfagna and Akey. Hudson is a very important player down there. Szymanski was when he was there. Roby Järventie is important. I'm forgetting a couple. I don't remember the names, but if you go and look at their ages, usually they're between 21 and 23. I hate the saying Cobb. Okay, Blair. I will use it again, though. It's part of the lexicon of words that I have.
Great word, lexicon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Plot twist, Watson took the fall for an owner, so the NFL continues to pay him for it. Okay.
April Fools.
Does it seem like Henrique can skate again? Seems to be getting there a little faster lately from GJ. I think he was hurt. You know, the NHL teams are terrible at telling you what's wrong, but that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy NHL Edge, because Brett Kulak was way off his game earlier, and I looked it up, and his foot speed was way down. Now that he's been traded, he's healthy, and he's playing again. But one of the reasons the Oilers traded him, he wasn't playing very well, but he wasn't 100%. I guarantee it. And with Henrique, I think he's 100% now. So when you're mad at a veteran player because he's not effective, and you're like, that guy doesn't have any kind of give a damn. Well, he does, but he's probably not 100%. And the reason that he's not playing at a level that he did before was exactly that. Pretty much 100%, I think. You guys like the word cob, right? 1 cob, 2 cob means 0.
I think it's a good way of saying 0.
You want to say it differently. You can't say it the same all the time.
This is true. Something they hammered into me during my internship for updates. Don't just say 0.
Yeah, you gotta come up with the funky words, and certainly we do on this show. Okay, it's 12:37. I promoted declinations, but I didn't really ask you about declinations. What's coming up today?
Yeah, Wednesday. So Duncan with Declan, jamming with Josh.
Okay,
it's as easy as that.
Okay, but can I ask if you can talk about NBA?
Oh, yeah, NBA.
So not March Madness.
No, well, that'll be Declan CAA tomorrow.
Okay, all right. We may touch on that before 2
Yeah,
o'clock
yeah,
if
no,
that's
of
okay.
course.
I just want to know your opinion on it. I just want to relive the fact that Duke isn't in it, which is always a great day. And that and more. Of course, we'll talk about the Oilers with lots of answers to your questions. And Kevin McCurdy coming up at 1 o'clock. Going to talk to Kevin about how this team is turning out. Does he like what's happening? I know that he will, but does he think that they can, as Declan suggested, have a hard time playing as well as they are now when the competition gets a little more difficult in the playoffs? Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the VLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
There's nothing like a spring sunset by the lake. Oh, wait, that's a pothole. And that was a new truck.
Oh, what the
Springtime in Edmonton also means project time with help from Metal Supermarkets. Huge inventory cut to your precise requirements, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and if you're like me, you never stop wondering what the future holds. The one thing I do know is that you'll be able to enjoy my maple butter glazed donut at Tim Hortons because it's so fluffy and delicious that it'll never come off the menu. Never, ever, ever. Try it today at Tim's.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 at 1241, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Declan, if I may ask, who is that artist? I really like that. Very nice. When they say that, like better than Aretha, better than Tina Turner, better than, I don't know.
You're naming some heavy hitters.
Yeah. Okay. I just never know what pecking order they're in,
Yeah, like obviously, you probably named one. You know Madonna's got to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bet. Josh is coming in here and going. Josh was out getting water.
And helping Mackenzie.
No, Josh is like a nature at work. He drinks a lot of water and then he goes to the washroom, and then he drinks a lot of water and goes to the washroom.
That's traditionally what happens when you drink a lot of water.
I'm telling you. You wait until you get to be my age.
Oh, I already go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Every night for the last 5 days, I've woken up at 2:30 in the morning to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Not my favorite time.
Yeah. Wait till you get to be my age and you stub your toe on something, or a cat step on its tail. It's
my bedroom used to be under my parents' bedroom, so every once in a while, like when I was a kid, you could hear my dad getting older. Because you could hear him walking in the middle of the night, and then sometimes you would hear or something like that.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment, really, but there's nothing you can do.
Gosman has 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, no, he's doing good. Andrew says he should tell you why he really likes Shakira. I'm assuming she's gorgeous.
Well, I mean, her hips don't lie.
Okay. All right.
She wrote a whole song about it.
Come on, LT. Kulak was traded because he was the only one without a no-trade clause. There's a lot of truth to that. But I still wonder why they did it, honestly. They did it before they tried out Ingram, right? In the NHL. Might have been an idea to do that before you did it. Is 2:30 a.m. part of the witching hour? Definitely some ghost pushing on the bladder at night. Well,
you know what they say, nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I think that's specifically from when you're away from home, however.
LT, try bagel instead of Cobb from Dr. Phil. I like Cobb. I'm not going to change Cobb. I'm using Cobb.
I like goose egg.
I'm a big love guy, like tennis,
Yeah, tennis,
that's on brand for you.
Tennis is so good. Tennis is so good. It's like we're going to play a game, and it's very entertaining, but it's like the French. We're going to make it a little more difficult and kind of highbrow and look down on you until you figure out how we score things. That's tennis.
That's the French.
I usually just mock the French about wars, but I decided to go there. Thank you for the response, Lowetide, the detailed response. I appreciate it from Bobby. We're talking about the AHL and the Condors. I heard Josh had a dream last night. The Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup. And just when he was about to celebrate, Lowetide popped around the corner and said, April Fools. And it won't happen. Wake up to reality, Josh.
Nope, sorry. It's going to happen. If I get to have blind optimism about one thing in sports, it will be that, because I've seen the story too many times with the Angels, but with the Flames, I see the path.
Okay. The one thing I'll say about the Flames is I think they have a really good general manager.
I think they're very well run. I would say, listen, again, this is probably Homer, but we're talking about GMs yesterday and who would take the job. It's well, the 3 best GMs in the league are already employed in Florida. I would say Pittsburgh and Calgary.
I have arguments all the time with people about the Pittsburgh GM, because I think that because he was in Toronto, that people think, he can't be that good. He's an excellent. He's turned that team around, baby, and it's hard to do. I give him full credit, And I think Dubas was foolish for anybody to leave him out there. And Pittsburgh, I'm not saying they're going to win another Stanley Cup with Crosby, but I am saying they're going to be competitive in the most extremely competitive situation in the National Hockey League. And it's not like they have great players everywhere, but they have good players, smart players, they're well coached, and they're making trades that are going to make them better down the line because they're adding draft picks and youngsters, which is how you build.
Like the Calgary Flames.
Yes. Tennis players love Cobb. Third best GM in the NHL. I thought April Fools was supposed to end at noon and go oil. I don't know. We could make the list. I think Zito would be number one.
I no doubt Zito's number one.
I think you've got to give Colorado some credit.
Colorado definitely gets some credit.
Tampa
They're definitely
Bay.
more homegrown. Yeah, Tampa.
Yeah. Then it gets interesting.
And then I'd be like, yeah, Dubas.
I'd like Dubas a lot. I think I probably like Dubas more than most people because I just think if you just go look at trades, Bill James used to do this thing where he would evaluate a trade. He'd say, the trade is made, and then 5 years out, you get to reap all of the rewards from that player. Even if you trade him away, that trade gets judged solely on what happens in the 5 years afterwards. And Dubas does very well in that. He does. Ken Holland, not so much, but what Ken Holland was doing was racing against time to win the Stanley Cup. And he had 5 years, but part of that was the pandemic. And then the cap issue. So Holland didn't get a clear shot at it. Not making excuses. He didn't get it done, but I think he did pretty well considering the restrictions that he had and the unforeseen circumstances. He made a lot of mistakes. The Zach Kassian contract was a mistake. No doubt about it. The Duncan Keith trade was a mistake. No doubt about it. But he signed Zach Hyman, and he got them to the NHL final in Game 7. And then his coda the following year, last year's team was mostly his. He got them to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final. There's something to be said for that. I don't know why I'm coughing. I'm fine.
You're dying.
Big baby. You shouldn't say your wishes and hopes out loud. It's not your birthday or Christmas.
It's almost my birthday.
How old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 12. No, I'm going to turn 22 next Saturday.
20. So you'll be Matt Savoy.
I guess so. Matt Savoy's number.
Wow. I remember 22. It's a great time because you can cheat the night. You can do the stupidest things in the world. And then the next day you're okay.
Yeah, I still got about, after I turned 22, probably about 3 years of that.
How many? I was stupid for a longer time than most people.
Yeah, except the whole next morning I'm fine. That's the part where I think you get your mid-20s and it starts to fade a little more.
I'll tell you what happens when you have kids. That's when you can go out till 3 a.m. and then you come home and at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, your kids are dancing on your forehead and they do not care where you've been.
Why would they?
No.
They shouldn't know where you've
been. Dad. And and you get up and you're with your kids and that is your life and you go about your business and you pay the price because you did silly stuff when they were sleeping. Slurpy Son said Duncan Keith was good for Evan Bouchard. I agree it was a bad trade. I think that those things are true. Duncan Keith was, well, he played here. He was a great teammate. I did a lot of good things. I think that he was, he and Bouchard had some great results. No quarrel with any of that. But in the NHL of that time, when you're taking on that kind of contract, you were getting a first-round pick for the amount of money the Oilers took on. That was my only point. I like Duncan Keith. Always did, always will. I think he was a very fine player. And hell, boys, the Oilers could use a 24-year-old Duncan Keith right bleeding now. But that wasn't the point. The point was the trade and the price. I never knew happiness until I had kids, but then it was too late. Day one, Dave. It's funny. The GMs granting huge salaries with long terms and no trade clauses will continue to haunt NHL teams. Kirby, I agree with you. And not exactly sure what the Oilers can do during the last years of McDavid's contract to make that easier. but I think buyouts are on the way. They just don't have enough to trade anymore. They simply don't. They do not have enough to trade. So what are you going to do?
That's a big problem in the NHL too, because now like Pandora's box is opened. Yeah, everyone gets a no move clause or a no trade clause or whatever. Meanwhile, like in the NBA, in the NFL, in the MLB, they are so rare. But because everyone and their grandmother hands out no move clause, no trade clauses in the NHL, everyone sort of expects something.
Yeah. And I think that like right now, baseball doesn't have a salary cap and the owners want one. And the players are all mad as hell about it. You know, what the heck? And I get it. And I understand it. And I understand how the pie works. But you can't stop stupid. And Major League Baseball owners are rich and want either to win or to make money, and they run their teams that way. And so whatever frustrates you about your favorite Major League Baseball team now will be, if not as pronounced, more pronounced if you got a salary cap. And the other thing is, the thing that most MLB teams fear, the smaller markets, the middle central part of America, is the cap floor. That scares the daylights out of them.
Yeah, well, shouldn't a cap floor make it better for everybody?
It should.
Because and also when you introduce a salary cap, again, here are my thoughts on this. When you introduce a salary cap, theoretically, and a salary floor, you have to spend to the salary floor. That's just a must. But if you're an owner who wants to make as much money as possible, but you spend to the salary floor every year, you are not going to make money.
No.
Because the product that you have will unequivocally be terrible. And so when you know that there's a cap on the amount that you're allowed to spend, and the fans know that as well, why would they waste their time coming to your games to watch the crummy team that you've put together because you just want to ounce them for every dollar that they've got?
It's true. If you're I don't know what the temperature is in Pittsburgh today, but if they're playing at home right now, the Pirates are watching a game where the optimal lineup isn't on the field because Connor Griffin's in the minors.
Yep.
Why would you do that? You know, MLB teams have got to they got to meet the fan base halfway if you're going to charge that kind of coin, I think.
Without a doubt. I think that goes for all sports, though.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, Jared Reinsdorf.
Yeah. Jeez. But I don't want a bunch of Jerry Joneses either, although I love him in Dallas. He's doing so well.
Yeah, but you wouldn't love him if he was the Montreal Expos owner and GM.
No, I'd hate that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you need is a bunch of I don't know, who are some good owners in sports. You don't want a Daryl Cates, honestly, in my opinion, because this seems like a guy who's Jerry Jones but less pronounced.
Yeah, I think he's too much a fan. That's what I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And when he gets upset, then he reacts, and I don't think you can do that.
You know who you want? You want the Ravens owner. A guy that does not do press or anything. You don't really hear anything about him. And then every once in a while just comes in and goes, nope, we got to change the way we're doing things. And then does press for the first time in 5 years or whatever.
Although that press avail was pretty scathing when he said, yeah, we would have fired Harbaugh 1 week later, if anything.
He had, 1 more week, which I mean, which tells you where he thought the team was.
Right.
And that, as you say, Lowetide, some guys are just too long at the fair.
No.
Which is what I think Harbaugh was in Baltimore.
Scotty Bowman, when he was with the Montreal Canadiens, he was asked by, might have been Red Fisher, I don't know, what the keys were to the winning Stanley Cups in Montreal. And he said the Molson family owned the team at that time. And he said, ownership, they pay all the bills and they stay out of the way. They don't ask any questions. They show up 3 times a year for a Sunday morning skate before the team goes out. And then they have the team photo that they're a part of. And at the end of the year, there's a big banquet and fun time where the players and the owners and a few friends get together and they have an evening. And he said that was it. They never interfered at all. And I think that is a key, because then you hire the right people and then let them do the job. You know, it's like if I went over and tried to produce instead of Declan, it wouldn't be better. Trust me. I don't even know which knob is the right one. You know, where's the big station cord? Rip that out of the wall. I bet I would do that by accident.
No, that cord is very protected.
All right. Coming up in hour number 2, Kevin McCurdy. We're going to have declinations. It's going to be Duncan with Declan, swiping with Josh.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Do I get any of Declan segments names correct? I don't think I do.
You get declinations on Friday, right?
Yeah, but then Mama MMA, I guess I do as well.
And Declan NCAA.
Sure.
Which pretty soon you're going to start getting wrong because it'll be Declan CFL.
Right. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for the draft. All right. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Edmonton Oilers have signed forward William Nichols with 3-year entry-level contract beginning next season. He had 15 goals and 11 assists over 32 games with the OHL's London Knights this season after returning from injury on December 31st. Just 3 games tonight in the NHL. Vancouver Canucks in Colorado to take on the Avs at 6:30. St. Louis and LA and Anaheim at San Jose, both going at 7. And in the NBA, action gets going with 2 games at 5 o'clock. Philadelphia and Washington and Atlanta and Orlando. Late game will see San Antonio and Golden State at 8. Action in the MLB world right now. Of course, the Toronto Blue Jays playing host to the Colorado Rockies. That one at the end of the 6th sees the Blue Jays leading 1-0, leading 6-2. Other scores around the league see the Orioles up 8-3 on the Rangers in the middle of the 8th. Pirates up 4-3 on the Reds in the top of the 9th. Nats up 2-1 on the Phillies at the end of the 6th. And the Marlins up huge on the White Sox, 9-0 in the middle of the 7th. A little bit later on today, in about 40 minutes, we're going to see the Tigers and Diamondbacks. In just over an hour, we're going to see the Yankees and Mariners. One final today saw the Braves over the A's 5-1. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Style & Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena, the Silent Ice Center. A new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440. A couple minutes after 1 o'clock, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month, featuring the best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. Jay's up 1-0 in the top of the 7th. We'll keep you updated as the afternoon rolls along. Joined now by Kevin McCurdy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Alan. How are you doing this week?
I'm well. I want to start by saying that I know it's been a year since the passing of your father, who had a big impact on my life and your life as well. And I want to send my best to you and to Anna and to your entire family, which I know the year after, at least for me, was a difficult day. So I hope you're getting through it well. And I want you to know that we're thinking of you and your family.
Well, I appreciate that. It's pretty hard to put into words how much of an impact that he's had on everybody, especially in this space, but on just around in his life in general. And it's been a potent reminder today to have so many people reach out with, respect and gratitude and, going through those emotions. So I really appreciate it.
It's funny because he was... not to make the show about Bruce, but he was so passionate about so many things that I've seen, people sending to you information about they connected with him over the sun and the moon and the stars, over music, obviously over, hockey or baseball. He cut a wide swath and he had a great deal of passion about many different and varied things.
Yeah, mutual hatred of bagpipes was one that I saw come up last night, and I want nothing more in the world today than for Artemis to return to the moon. I have to say, there's no more fitting reminder, I guess, on the 1-year anniversary than if that mission actually launches. So, really looking forward to seeing that go off today, hopefully.
I would think that if Bruce and I were DMing back and forth after last night's game, he would have been very pleased with the structure and the quality of play of this Edmonton Oilers team, especially the third and fourth line. The Oilers rarely dominate the soft parade like they did last night, and it was good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're moving in the right direction finally. We got 4 wins strung together in a row, good underlying numbers for all of it. Little concerned about coach's decision to scratch Szymanski, or at least appearingly scratch Szymanski, but wait to see if there's some explanation for that, maybe around his status with the Oilers due to an emergency call-up or something with that. But, Szymanski's underlying numbers have been excellent. I think he's a great addition to the team. I truly think that we're looking at next year's third line center for the Oilers, and I wouldn't want to cost him any minutes that we could get him some additional ice time for.
Yeah, it's funny because the whatever line he seems to play on has good underlying numbers. They scored a goal last night. that group of players who trying to get playing time, the healthy ones. Max Jones is in there. There are others. Curtis Lazar played last night, and then we've got Trent Frederick coming back, and I honestly don't know if Doc's going to play here. He may end up going down to Bakersfield. There's just simply not going to be enough room. But the fact that Szymanski is in the conversation, and a year ago he's playing in Germany, really does reflect on what a hell of a signing that was.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. We've done some excellent work in the NCAA and in the European markets, and it sure seems like that trend is continuing. But like for Szymanski specifically, for his 18 games played with the Oilers, he's rocking 62% goal share, 55% expected goal share, more than 50% in the faceoff dot. And for somebody who isn't part of the core penalty kill, in 6 minutes of PK time, he has 0 goals allowed in that time. So, I mean, he's making a pretty compelling case to remain with the big team for the foreseeable future.
And he's a value contract. They've got a few of them. I would count Savoy and Podkolzin as young players who are making less than what they will at some point in time. And not exactly sure of the status of Hyman as of today, but the Oilers are, I think, a year into the Stan Bowman era, doesn't have any more draft picks, but he does have more plug and play options because of the quality of Bakersfield, and a lot of that is college and European signings.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see what they do in Bakersfield for signings in general, because as it stands, it sure doesn't seem like the team has made a lot of headway in re-upping any of the guys down there or the coaching staff or anything like that. So I'm sort of curious to see how that develops over the next month or so, and I'm sure there's some folks getting pretty nervous down there. So be interesting to see how that plays out.
There's always I followed it not because I want to see people lose their jobs, just because I've watched hockey for so long. And when a new manager takes over, often there are opportunities taken to find their own people. And that, I'm not saying that will happen, but if it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised based on what we've seen in the past. The Oilers did make a signing today, and it's an interesting one because they don't have very many draft picks. So the idea is if you've got a guy who's played well in junior or college after you drafted him, probably best to go out and get him. And in this particular case, I mean, I was impressed with this player from the word go. Basically, it seems to me that William Nickel has played well when healthy right after getting drafted, even at the camps that he was here. But they want to sign him to an entry level deal. He's got skill. He can play a two-way game. I think he's developed in the OHL with the London Knights. What are your thoughts on him?
I've liked what I've seen of the players so far. I don't spend as much time watching the OHL and the AHL like some of the more well-known folks in that space, like Bruce Kurlock. But from what I have seen of him, he's been impressive. And frankly, anytime you're getting a 7th-round draft pick on an entry-level contract, that means you're doing something right in your pro scouting department, which is more than I can say for the years prior to that. So I would definitely like to see that trend continue with, given that we have a limited number of draft picks, it's really important that we connect with the ones that we do get. So seeing a 3-year ELC for Willie Nickel is, I think, a very good step in the right direction for this organization.
Kevin, do you feel this team is, they played so poorly against the Florida teams, and then after that they played extremely well. Goaltending, 5-on-5 save percentage the last 5 games is over .920. Coverage has been good. They've been killing penalties well. The power play could use some work, but 5-on-5 has been pretty steady. Do you think they can parlay that against teams that are not the Florida teams into the playoffs, or do you think there's still a gap here and that the other team is sort of dictating the flow of play and how things are going to go when they're high quality and the Oilers can't play at that level? Is there any truth to that?
No, I think. I mean, we've played against a couple of high-quality opponents since then, and honestly, I think the team was just a little disjointed and out of sync with each other. And we've seen more progress in that department in the last 4 games than we have all season. This is by far the best consecutive hockey we've seen yet this year, and I'm hoping that we'll see that trend continue for the remainder of the season and into the playoffs. I do think that there has been an increased focus on keeping things to the outside on the defensive side of the puck. We've definitely not seen very much get through to Ingram or Jari, and we've seen stellar performances from both of them. Um, I'm sure we'll look to see Jerry getting a start sooner than later again. His last start was quite good, and I was actually a little surprised they didn't make it a back-to-back for him last time. But Ingram's also been excellent, and you got to love the guy in his post-game interviews, man. He's such an easy-to-like dude, and just had his 29th birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to Connor Ingram. I feel that the team has turned a page a little bit and everybody's sort of buckled down, especially with Leon Draisaitl sitting in the press box with an injury right now. It's been really nice to just see everybody step up and deliver just that little bit more with a little bit of extra responsibility delivered to them by the coach.
I wrote an article on The Athletic today about the pairing of Darnell Nurse and Connor Murphy. They've been together a little while now. Their 5-on-5 goals against per 60 is 1.75, which is terrific. The issue is getting the puck out and under control, and heading in a good direction and not icing the puck. I like the idea of a shutdown pairing, and 1.75 goals against 60 at 5-on-5 is splendid. But how do you overcome that? You want to use the Bouchard pairing with the McDavid line, but you'd also like to have a puck mover sending the puck out to Leon Draisaitl and his wingers as well. What are your thoughts on how to make a shutdown pairing like the one that the Oilers are deploying right now into at least an adequate passing and transporting pairing?
I don't know, but I don't think that I want to jack with the pairings too much more than what we already are. Just having a quick look here, and they have a fairly abysmal shooting percentage, but they have a good on ice save percentage, and expected goals and goals for are still in their favor. So I think you kind of, if you can find somebody, or we have found somebody that clicks with Darnell Nurse and the analytics are treading in a good direction, I think we sort of just leave it as is, because you have two strong pairings in Wallman and Emberson, and Ekholm and Bouchard, obviously. So there's not much left that you can move around after that. And to see positive results come out of, a rather beleaguered Darnell Nurse, I think that's a big step in the right direction for him.
How is your blossoming hockey career going, and when will we see you on NHL ice?
A guy can dream, but that's not in the future for me, unfortunately. That said, got summer league starting up next month. Got a little bit of ice time between now and then. It was very good results at the fundraiser for SACE. Very happy with that outcome. Overall, just really enjoying being back on the ice and hearing the sounds of the arena, and something Dad and I were always very fond of, just being in the rink and listening to things like the Zamboni go around in a circle, and the sounds of skates on ice and puck on glass and off post and what have you. There's this sort of homeliness about it. So I've really enjoyed that experience, and I know Dad would be proud. And for me today, this is just a day of memorializing him, and I've got a little bit of an announcement that's coming out on Twitter for a project that I've been working on behind the scenes later today. So look forward to that. There's some a new analytics tool that I've been working on that I'm really excited about.
Excellent. I'll look forward to that. What can you give us a ballpark, tease it a little bit?
Yeah, it's a tool called Line Blender, and it does exactly what you think. It allows you to do on-ice results for your entire roster visually, instead of having to go through the line tool one set of pairings or at a time, so that you can move player cards around and see the analytics come back in real time instead of the somewhat arduous way that you used to have to do it through natural stat trick or what have you. So I'm really excited to get that out to the public later today. I've been working on it for a couple of weeks now, and I think it will change how we look at on ice analytics at least a little bit.
That sounds amazing. Look forward to it. Thanks, man. You've given me something to look forward to after the show. Have a great one. I appreciate it.
Have a good week, everyone.
There you go, Kevin McCurdy. And he's a very bright and courageous young man. And he, like all of us, are missing Bruce terribly today. And that's the price you pay when you find wonderful people in your life and you love them. Then when you lose them, it hurts a lot. But you would never, ever, not pursue that, whatever that relationship might be. And we miss Bruce and we think of him today. And we are certainly thinking of his family. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our number one selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit Sherbrooke.
It's one thing to try and take away all of his passes when he's flying down the ice, but if he's having that shot mentality, he just becomes so much more dangerous.
Early behind McKinnon, Caulfield and goal. Steele Cameron shoots. Extends the lead to 2-0. That's his eighth. By Kapanen reads his play, and you can see how deep. When I say deep.
Yeah, three World Cups in a row. I barely made it into work.
I'm
not happy, but I'm hoping that tonight will pick it up for me, but it was a sad day.
Jake Wallman, a drag with us. The Oilers take the early 1-0 lead. Max Jones was perched in front.
You can see.
Can't give Google this wide open layup or dunk.
Harden had it. Here goes Therese.
Down. Look out, LeBron!
Throw that baby down!
Can't give Luka this wide open layup or dunk.
Harden had it. Here goes Therese!
Down! Look out, LeBron!
Throw that baby down!
Dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game. Save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 50% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick. Proudly Canadian since 1971.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers fans, season seats have never been easier. Sign up for first access to full half and quarter seats starting only $28 per week by visiting edmonton-oilers.com/season seats.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. The Colorado Rockies have tied the score against Toronto. Great pitching outing down the drain. But Toronto did have their chances, right? So anyway, they haven't lost it yet. It's 1-1 in the top of the 8th. James from the Hood says, I think the Draisaitl injury has been a blessing in disguise. He's my favorite player, but it's forced the rest of the team to pick up their games. This opportunity has been great to see what this team is actually made of. If Leon is back for the playoffs, he'll be rested, which could be crucial to our playoff success. I also think with Connor and Leon calling Knobs out publicly, it's forced Knobs to be better as well. Thoughts? James from the Hood. Well, I think the third and fourth lines are playing more as a unit, like rolling lines. They've played 22 minutes a night all year, so they've been playing, but it's a little more sporadic when the Oilers are trying to catch up or whatever the case may be. Lots of power plays, but I think they found a structure that works, and I'm sure that they'll continue it when Leon's back. As far as them calling the coach out, I feel like it was pretty mild, but it felt to me like it was. And a lot of people say no, it was just run of course. And I have my opinion. I think it was. I think there was some frustration from the player side, and I think it got expressed. And Connor McDavid, he didn't walk it back. He just said that's not what his intent was. So it wasn't like he was saying I was wrong. It was taken in a way that wasn't meant, but I took it that way, and I think that whatever result, whatever moment got us to where they are playing now, it has to be viewed as a net positive. Oh my goodness! Can we agree baseball is the most ridiculous game?
It's a fickle sport. It is. It's tough because again, I think Gausman had 9 strikeouts today. And this is where I do have problems with John Schneider as a manager, is I do think sometimes he does focus too heavily on analytics because your pitcher's rolling, like keep him on the bump.
How many pitches was he at, though?
That's a good question. No. That is a good question.
I agree with you, except for that. To me, you got to be able to.
Tell you what, I can find that for you really quickly, but also that was a bad error by Andres Jimenez.
You cannot let the guy run to set. Now he's on third. Damn it. I don't even care about the Jays. I'm just watching a great pitching outing go about the window.
Yeah, that's tough. Oh, Kirky. That's bad. Gausman.
And he's a great catcher.
He threw 89 pitches. And he had 10 Ks. My apologies.
Yeah.
He only gave up 2
might
hits.
have been able to start the next inning. I don't know. You make your call, right? It's a long season and it's early, so I'm not going to get upset about that. But this particular inning has been a tire fire.
It just goes to show you that like the bullpen, with all the injuries, like the bullpen isn't what it could be.
Yeah.
And also that there was a great thing brought up by Brandon earlier today that with all the injuries to the starting rotation, you got to go and find pieces in the minors.
Yeah.
You can't rely on a bullpen game.
No, it's true. Matt LeDuc says early in the year you have to pull pitchers early. Unfortunately, I usually agree. Schneider is too quick with the hook, and they've also Ponce is hurt, right? So, and it doesn't sound good. Like I don't know whether Savage is, he's pitching like he's bullpen session or whatever, but it doesn't sound good for Ponce. And he looked so good in preseason, and even in the start that he had, very brief.
Yeah, it wasn't like the worst start in the world for sure. But it's good that Savage is able to get out and do these bullpen sessions because you know what they say, like, what is it? Elbows a year, shoulders a career.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wanted to keep saying season, but I knew that wasn't it because it rhymed with career. But the fact that he's able to throw bullpen sessions means maybe his shoulder isn't as mucked up as maybe it was led to believe with just an impingement.
That's what you hope, right?
That truly that is what you hope
Because if he's
so good.
If he's done and he's never going to pitch again, then he'll get traded to the Angels like Manoah.
Oh no, he'll sign with the Angels, and then he will give an interview where he'll say, "Oh, I was a big piece of that championship run."
Oh my God!
In Yosavage's case, that will in fact be true. 2 big outings. Listen, he for the rest of his life will get to say that he struck out Shohei Ohtani in the World Series, and Shohei swung so hard at the pitch that his helmet came off.
Yeah.
If I did that, I think I would bring it up in every interview. It wouldn't even be like a thing of, you're playing the Dodgers tonight. I'd be like, oh, so how do you think your outing against the Rockies went? And I would lead off with, I struck Shohei Ohtani out in the World Series and his helmet came off.
I probably would too, because I don't think it gets better than that.
I really, really, really don't think so.
No. Is Deck here? He's not here.
Declan's not here.
Okay. Declan's not here, man.
Don't worry, Husks. Your question will be answered later this hour.
Well, do we have it are we going to talk about it in the thing?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to. I think
okay,
Declan and I were talking about the MVP race, like going into the show.
Okay.
And he said he thinks every week from now until the end of the season, that's going to be the conversation.
Okay. So we've got you covered, right? We won't delve into it now. We'll wait for Josh and Declan when he returns to the room. Where do you guys go? Do you just go out and,
I go out to get water and I go out to pee. And every once in a while, like when I'm out getting water, I will check in on Mackenzie and see what it is she's doing.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah.
We have a question.
See, look, he's
for
back.
you.
He got water.
Yeah, we have a question for you, Deck. And you do not have to answer it if it's going to be covered in the previous or in the coming explanations. Deck, I'm starting to agree. This is from Husk. I'm starting to agree. Luka ain't slowing down. He has to be top 2 now for MVP. Next 2 games against Thunder will tell us a lot. You think Luka can keep it up? I do. If he does, I would not want to play Lakers in the playoffs.
Well. Top 2, not 2. Husks is a very, very, very informed basketball fan. Like, he has an incredible mind for the game. You can tell. Like, he's been here. Actually, we've met him, had a conversation with him. Lovely, lovely guy. And obviously from his text, he knows ball. So this isn't a surprise coming from him. But I'm glad the world is finally catching up. It's about time.
Too bad the MVP race started in October and not.
And he was good then too when he was putting up 33 a game.
Don't care.
Paul Moreau says, curious on what your take is on the impact of Paul Coffey. Has had the team, as I'm hearing quite often from the goalies, praising the players in front of them, blocking shots, getting back. I've not heard much talk about Paul Coffey. I wrote about it in The Athletic today about the shutdown pairing and about Coffey's impact. Long story short, Nurse was the best suppression defenseman in terms of goals against per 60 at 5-on-5 among the top 4. And he was playing mostly away from the McDavid line, but he had a better goals against per 60. The problem was there weren't enough pucks going in the other direction, and that was impacting the goal share, which is what people care about, and it upsets them when the goal share isn't good. And 44% is what Nurse was at without Paul Coffey. Now, with Coffey's arrival and then Connor Murphy's arrival, they're like at a 1.75, I believe, goals against per 60 at 5-on-5, and that is really good. They still have to worry about the offense. Probably will come when Leon gets back, and the third and fourth line, they scored a goal each last night, so maybe it's going to come no matter what. But I do think Paul Coffey's had an impact. The problem is it's hard to quantify it. You can say he's had an impact, and he did it last year too, but remember, last year, right after they lost the Stanley Cup final, the Knights were out for Coffey, and he didn't return. So is he brilliant, or is he brilliant and tough to deal with, or is he just lucky? I don't know. I have no answer for you. My suspicion is that he's really good at this, and he is in no way reflective of the way he played hockey. He just knows defense, and that would be a pretty cool story, and I hope it's all true.
You would hope he knows defense. I mean, he's what, third among all defensemen all time in scoring.
His playing style is not conducive to suppression.
It's true, but this is years of people
But he
telling
knows,
him, "Hey,
right?
man, you gotta stop the puck," and him never being able to get it. So maybe this is one of those situations where those who can do and those who can't coach.
Well, he said Vincent Desharnais said in an interview, he said the key thing that Paul Coffey had done for him was teaching him that he had more time than he thought he did with the puck, and making better decisions was really important. If he didn't want to play defense so much, the best thing he could do is make better decisions. And to me, that's a brilliant, like, if Coffey's teaching these guys that, then, fill your hat, man. Sign that guy forever, because that's really good stuff. And as Kevin McCurdy said, 2 of the 3 pairings are playing very well. Looks like they're going in a very good direction with Nurse and Murphy. Still have to figure out how to get the puck up under control. But the outlets are better. The team they got calm feet. There's a little walkabout, but Murphy's really good at settling everything down. I don't know, man. I think they're playing well, and I think you have to give Paul Coffey some credit. Even though we don't, it's not something that we can identify, in these specific ways. Don't know that necessarily. But the results have been better, and that is key and very, very important to this hockey club as time rolls along. I was going to ask you about March Madness, and I know you're going to talk mostly NBA. So from your point of view, when we play the game Saturday and then the final game on Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you looking for? Like, I get the feeling when I'm reading about it now, and it feels like people think UConn is going to just fly through to the final. Is that how you feel?
Oh, to the final. I mean, I think Illinois, respectfully, is kind of the odd team out of the Final Four teams. Like Michigan and Arizona, that semifinal, those are 2 of the 4 highest-rated Ken Palm teams ever. I believe they're 3rd and 4th. UConn, obviously, they have that 17-game win streak, I believe it is, past the Sweet 16, going back to however many years. It might even be going back to that 2014 team. Illinois is kind of the one that was like, they didn't have to play Florida. They found themselves beating a Houston team who I liked a lot and is very well coached, has a defensive identity, kind of collapsed on offense. Yeah, people talk about UConn being like having an easy path to that final. And people also talk about that Arizona-Michigan game being the true national championship. I do think that's disingenuous. I'll give you a fun stat. I was going to save it for tomorrow, but 19 of the last 21 champions had a top 10 Ken Palm offense. Illinois this year was number 1. They were the number 1 offensive team. Arizona this year, number 4, Michigan, number 5, and UConn is 28th. So history would tell us that UConn will not be cutting down the nets, correct?
Yes.
Well, I said 19 of the last 21. The 2 exceptions to that rule, both UConn 2024 and 2011. Now, granted, that was some time ago, but it still is kind of a harrowing stat. It wasn't Dan Hurley's 2 teams that won it. So yeah, like I don't want to overlook Illinois because they're there and they have the number 1 offense, but they do feel respectfully kind of odd man out of the 3 other teams.
That's like I don't know. I love watching it, but I don't know the game like you do. And like when I read stuff, it feels like they're the first game on Saturdays. They're looking past it a little bit, and I don't know if that's right or not. But it feels like it's UConn to play the winner of Michigan Arizona on Monday.
Illinois also has a lottery pick in Vogler. Like that is to have an NBA player in an NCAA tournament game. Now, granted, like Arizona and Michigan have NBA players as well. UConn probably does as well. And, Reed, if he goes late, maybe care. But my point is to have a lottery pick guy in that situation where you can take over the game, like that's big. It's not going to be a walk in the park for UConn. This is the Final Four. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
All right. Are you ready for your declinations?
I am very excited.
Okay. We're talking MVP, right? Another NBA.
Yeah, me and Josh were kind of joking probably from now until the end of the season. Like the playoff picture is the playoff teams and play-in teams are set. There's going to be some seeding kind of issues that we'll talk about, but yeah, it's probably going to be very MVP heavy.
And after we're done talking about MVP on the next few weeks, then can we go back to talking about Embiid?
We can talk about Embiid. I weirdly was like planning in my mind this segment, him his 2023 working his way into the convo somehow, and me having to defend him against the text line.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrobacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Oil Country, your seat is closer than you think. Starting at just $28 a week with a deposit-free payment plan available. Securing your full, half, and quarter season seats inside Rogers Place for the 2026-27 season has never been easier. Sign up for pre-sale access at EdmontonOilers.com/season seats. Experience all that Rogers Place has to offer during an Oilers game night by visiting EdmontonOilers.com/season seats.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
$139. This is the Lowdown for Wolf GMC Buick. It's truck month. Check them out. WolfGMCBuick.com. Bottom of the 8th. 1-1 Toronto and Colorado. Good ball game. Kirk's on first. Well, he actually isn't on first anymore because he got on first and now there's a pinch runner. It's time for Declinations, brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions. Divorce can be difficult. We can help make the road to a new life easier. Fairwaydivorce.com. Declan.
Okay. Listen, I think it was last week we were having a conversation similar to this, and you asked Josh and I, if SGA wins the MVP, will you be up in arms even though he's not your favorite?
Yes.
We both said no. Like, listen, he's a great player. Like, historic efficiency. Like, you can't be mad at it. I have changed my tune.
Okay. Now you would be.
If anyone but Luka Doncic wins the MVP, I will be up in arms.
Now, I'm interested in hearing more about this, but also Josh's reply.
Well, here's my what's the argument against him? Luka averages more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And when Luka doesn't play, the Lakers have a 44-win pace. They're 7-6. When SGA doesn't play, the Thunder have a 54-win pace at 8-4. Shai's efficiency is what gets brought up. Your efficiency looks great when every time you miss a call, you get a phantom. When every time you miss a shot, you get a phantom call and get to go to the free throw line. Like efficiency at all, it didn't matter when James Harden won his MVP, or when Russell Westbrook won his MVP, or Derrick Rose, or Kobe Bryant, or Allen Iverson's season. The season he won his MVP, he put up 31, 4-4 on 42% shooting. Luka's putting up 34, 8-8 on, I think it's 45% shooting, which isn't great. I'm not going to carry water for 45% shooting. But my point being is that when you look at what he's doing, leading the league in scoring, top 3 in assists, top 3 in steals, where the Lakers would be in regard to a win pace without him versus some of these other superstars, I don't see an argument for anyone else anymore. And I want to be very clear. I don't think Luka is going to win the MVP, and I think it's going to be a travesty.
Interesting. So now, Josh, can we hear your point of view?
I do not think he's the MVP. Respectfully.
I think that's crazy. I think that's insane.
Listen, I get it. He has had a good year. And this is probably the only year that Luka actually, no, that's sort of disrespectful. But this is probably Luka's best case to win an MVP. And Declan's right. I don't think he's going to win it.
Remember, he's still got some rage over the gym.
I'm aware.
membership.
I think we both think it's going to be Shai.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Shai.
Okay.
Disgusting.
I'm a little more hesitant on saying that yes, Shai is going to be the MVP, because genuinely in my heart of hearts, I think Wemby is the MVP.
Matt,
look at you go.
So listen, I'll say this.
And I don't want to hear the minutes argument.
No, I'll say this. If it's not Shai, I think it actually will be Wemby. Josh, we've been on this, man. I'm on the Wemby is going to be the GOAT train.
Yes.
But man, at some point,
they should shorten the name of that train.
The Spurs are 10-5 without
the Victor Wembanyama train.
The Spurs are 10-5 without him. That's a 54-win pace as well. He's barely top 15 in scoring. He's not even top 15 in field goal percentage among players who have taken 10 shots as a 7'5" center. He's not top 25 in true shooting. Yes, the defense is incredible and it alters games, but just bluntly, defense doesn't carry as much weight as offense. Now it carries some weight. You obviously look at guys, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, going back to yesteryear, were great examples, but it didn't mean anything again when Steph or Steve Nash or Dirk or James Harden or Jokic were winning their MVPs. I love Wemby. I think
Jokic really good defender in the post.
And Jokic is a better defender than people give him credit for, and he gets defensive boards, which is part of defense.
It's a very important part.
But I point to look at the win pace of the Spurs without Wemby in a bigger sample size than the Lakers without Luka. And again, look at the stats. He's not top 15 in scoring. He's not top 15 in field goal. He's barely top 15 in scoring. He's not top 15 in field goal percentage among players with 10 shots a game as a 7'5" center. He's done I don't know what the argument. I just don't know what the argument is for him over Luka. I don't know what the argument is for anyone over Luka. Luka's doing what all of these guys are doing better, with the exception of efficiency, and that's never mattered at all. For some reason, it matters this year. Didn't matter that year. Russ
because it's a close year. That's why. Because this is the closest 4-person race we've seen in a long time.
But I guess my overall point to you is this: when I think of value to their team, I do not think Wemby is more valuable to the Spurs.
I think the defense is. I think it's 15 points worse when Wemby is off the floor.
Luka's points and assists responsible for are 20 points more a game than Wemby's points responsible for. Is he erasing 20 on the defensive end? That's a lot.
If you look at that defensive gravity,
obviously his and again,
which is it's an ununofficial stat of the actually never mind. Never mind.
Was that Torian Prince graphic? Yeah. And again, a lot of people they just kind of hear me and Josh talk about it. Wemby's impact defensively just by being there is incredible.
I think there's a lot of more eye test with Wemby for MVP than there is eye test with Luka.
I would also say this. Would you agree with me that the offense is weighted heavier than defense. I think
that's a no doubter.
Yes.
I mean, we sit here every day. We talk about the Norris Trophy, where offense is weighted heavier than defense, or else Svechnikov would win every Norris Trophy every year.
Slavin, but yes,
Slavin. That's my bad.
And my point is like the gap between Luka and Wemby is so astronomical. And I love Wemby. I really, really, really love Wemby. Lowetide, before Josh was working here, I said he was going to be the GOAT.
And on.
I said he could be the GOAT.
Yeah, it was like Jimmy.
Well, I was a little bit more realistic because I do think Wemby could be the GOAT. But my thing is like what Luka brings to that Lakers team is so valuable that I don't see these other legitimate superstars bringing it to their teams, as good as they all are. Luka makes a difference in the truest sense of the word. And the Nuggets with Jokic, they're a 51 win team without him this year. They're on pace to be a 51
This is my other point is like, Luka's doing, obviously he leads the league in points. Nikola Jokic as a center is leading the league in rebounds and assists.
Never been done before.
And is also doing it more efficiently than Luka. If you guys go watch last week's episode of Hoop City with Paul Sir on YouTube, great little website, Hoopsology. I love using it. It's a little graph point, and you can look at a bunch of on-off numbers versus minutes played and all these things. It's like, we're having this conversation, but in reality, I think I sort of convinced myself that the MVP should be Nikola Jokic. He's not going to win it because media bias, but also like I'm pounding the drum heavy for Wembanyama because like I know that like offense is weighted more heavily, and I just agreed with you, but like the fact that we are bringing up defense points to the fact that Wemby is leagues better at defense than everyone else in the league. Correct. That we are bringing it up into a most valuable player conversation, and it was being brought up before he was ever asked to make his case for MVP.
Yeah, and like I just really think, because this is what makes it tough. No defined. Actually, Lowetide, sorry, we haven't heard from you much. Who do you think is MVP?
I'm not going to make a comment because I don't know this as well as you guys, and I would just be taking away from the conversation. I do have a question, though.
Yes. I was hoping you would just say Luka. I was hoping you'd throw it.
You know who's second in the league in usage percentage?
Is it Jaylen Brown?
No, it's Luka Doncic.
Who's first?
First is Alex Antetokounmpo, who had the ball 37.5% of the time in his first game, and that was it.
So here's my question. So I when I hear you talk, Declan, you are so passionate about your guy. And
I've spent time calling him a fat slob, so that should show I'm objective.
That he was.
But that said, you acknowledge that there are detractors. Okay? So from the definition of MVP that the NBA puts down, can you check all the boxes for Luka?
Yes, because here's the thing. There is no defined criteria.
It changes every year.
Yeah, it kind of does. And I kind of have my own. I look at obviously individual statistics. Obviously, we're checking those boxes, 34, 8, and 8, and 2 steals a game. Well, 1.7. I look at, is your team having success? Yes, they are. They're the 3 seed. I look at, are you doing something historic? The 34 points per game, it's not exactly historic, but it's a pretty finite list of guys who have hit that threshold. Like we're talking Jordan, we're talking Kobe, we're talking Wilt, we're talking James Harden, we're talking Luka. And obviously he's top 3 in assists. And then I look at supporting cast. I look at who you're doing it with. And that is where I have to give the edge to, like,
off the floor, Austin Reeves averages 35 points per game without Luka on the floor.
And Austin Reeves is a great player. And that's funny. That's kind of a separate convo. Like, I actually am curious to know what his future is going to look like. I assume he stays in LA. And I think Austin Reeves is a very good player. The funniest thing actually is that Austin, Luka, and LeBron on the floor together is a bad lineup. It's a horrible lineup because it's just kind of a defensive liability. Although Luka's ISO defensive number is heck of a lot better, only a little worse than Amen and actually better than Jaden McDaniels. But my point, Lowetide, is yes, he checks all the boxes. And when I look at these other guys, I don't know if they check all the boxes. Like the Thunder are a 54-win team without Shea. And quite bluntly, and Josh, maybe I'll let you go off on this one because I'm rambling. I'm talking really fast. People probably don't love to hear it. The way Shea plays, it's
we've had this conversation, and I think everyone in the NBA world has had the conversation about ethical hoops, and like SGA sort of plays it in an unethical way, but also he's the best player in the world.
But
by
the
technicality,
fouls are
he's
real.
the MVP. The fouls are real, by the letter of the law, they are real. And he got called for an offensive foul the other night that would have been a game winner. Instead, they go into overtime. They win it anyways. But like he gets the favorable whistle. Luka is a guy who also gets a favorable whistle, to be fair, because he's a guard.
Great players get the calls.
Great players get the calls, unless your name is Victor Wembanyama or even Nikola Jokic, because the bigger you are, the more things are a foul, and they can't call a foul every time because you're taller than everybody else. Another thing in the I feel bad that I'm like actively going against Luka because I love Luka Doncic.
Yeah, let me ask you this quickly. If he won, would you have a problem with it?
No, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it, but I think maybe I'd have a slight problem with it because I am so on the just because I'm so on the Wemby train. But then I'd come around to be like, yeah, this isn't bad. Point against Luka here though. He has a higher usage percentage than James Harden did in his 2017-2018 season once he won the MVP.
Sorry, say that again.
In 17-18, Harden, a guy who needed the ball, Luka has a higher usage percentage than him.
But the Lakers, that's my point. Like similarly, the way the Rockets needed...
The Rockets didn't need him to do that, though. They needed Chris Paul to have the ball in his hands to facilitate the court. But also, when you take a guy who's as high percentage usage as those guys, your team flounders because they don't know how to run without them.
I do think
it's like the Oilers power play.
Exactly. You take Leon Draisaitl out of the Oilers power play, all of a sudden it looks like a league average power play. You take Luka Doncic out off the floor for the Lakers, and you're like, all right, Austin Reeves and LeBron James. Like one of the greatest players of all time. 6'8", all 10,000 plus assists, and all of a sudden, like the offense can't function without Luka Doncic. Like I think that is a detriment almost to the coaching and play style of a team, which I do think has to come into account, because even we saw this in Dallas. It was like Jason Kidd's game plan was, hey man, get Luka the ball and he'll figure it out. And I feel like that's sort of a thing that the Lakers are falling into is, hey, Luka Doncic is a smart enough player. Like he will be able to run this offense and he'll find cracks in it. And I think that's just a big detriment to a team. Meanwhile, like teams that do have guys like Wembanyama and Jokic, like they'll be okay without, or not Jokic, SGA. They'll be okay without them on the floor. Anyways, Wemby's my MVP.
All right, here we go. Jason Krueger on the way, talking about last night's game. The Oilers are playing well at the great time of year. So we'll talk about that with Jason. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be back with more hijinks, including bag milk. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street. Now open 6 days a week, Saturday hours from 10 to 2. You can also visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers have signed forward William Nickel to a 3-year ELC beginning next season. 15 goals and 11 assists for Nickel in 32 games with the OHL's London Knights this season after returning from injury on December 31st. Blue Jays and Rockies currently in the bottom of the ninth. 1-1 the score in this one. 0-2 count with the Jays on deck. Braves beat the A's 5-1 earlier today. Orioles over the Rangers 8-3. Pittsburgh over the Reds 8-3 as well. And the Marlins blanking the White Sox 10-0. Scores around the league include Diamondbacks over the Tigers 1-0. Cubs over the Angels 5-0. Astros over the Red Sox 5-2. Rays and Brewers tied 2-2. Mets and Cardinals, the Mets lead that one 1-0. And the Nats lead the Phillies 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth. NHL action today, we'll see 3 games. Vancouver and Colorado at 6:30 and St. Louis and LA at 7. Anaheim and San Jose also dropping the puck at 7 o'clock. And finally, in the NBA, 2 games kicking off the action at 5 o'clock. Philadelphia and Washington, and Atlanta and Orlando. The late game, we'll see San Antonio and Golden State at 8. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Center. Looking for the perfect place to host your next event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, Edmonton Expo Center has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering,